savings account. Remittance is a big product. It has actually, through financial inclusion, remittance has been, the Reserve Bank mandate is to make everything through the banking system. And the informal channel is now moving towards a formal channel, of which remittance has become a big push from urban to rural, the money which goes in. So this has been made possible, one from the technology perspective, which has come in the last 5-6 years, which has made this financial inclusion possible. And then the Reserve Bank of India guidelines on the BC, which actually allow outsourcing models to be there. So both the human interface as well as the technology has made it possible, and now we see as the model itself, part to progress, we have reached some stage. We have the 100 million accounts, as we know we have 50 million, we are doing 10 million transactions. Now the focus has to be more on the products per se, that from just savings account and remittance, we get into lending, we get into insurance, and we have seen there is so much of under penetration in all the products. The market is big. The market is big. We have to get the right business model.
Sure.
We have to move away from a compliance model, as we have seen companies, especially in the FMCG and other sectors today. I read in the paper, Coke has built up a solar refrigerator which can go to 25,000 villages where there is no electricity. So
but it's working on solar power.
It's working on solar power. So something of that sort has been, or Shache, the example which we heard in the beginning, those kind of engineerings have happened, and somewhere banking is probably a little slow on that, but it is catching up.
So you can't, from day one, you can't start lending 100 million people. We need to understand that. I think out of 100 million people, everyone cannot be an entrepreneur. We need to realize that.
Because since you are the face-to-face last mile contact, you know, will it not open up a new plethora of challenges then?
Trust is very important. So, but it's not in BC model, you are not actually giving money, it's not credit, you are taking money. And person is always suspicious whether he will get the money back or not. So trust is very important. So saving, you start with a savings account. We have seen people starting with 10 rupees, then growing, and now 100, 200 rupees are moving. So trust has to be built up. But products per se, especially mutual funds and complex life insurance products, are difficult for our BC to explain. But simple GPA policies, group personal accident policies, or simple products like remittance, insurance, very simple products are sellable. But the moment you make it complex, I think literacy is something which we would expect the Reserve Bank and the ministry as well as the banking sector to work upon. If the literacy can come, and that can really help the sector.
Okay. Mr. Samamurthy, just going back to the other point we were talking about, multiplicity, and especially since UID, whenever sooner or later, it will become a reality. Is there a need to start perhaps talking to the government, talking to decision makers to think if there needs to be a linkage between how the banking channel will work and how the UID scheme is going to be implemented?
No, but I think these are all, I see them as building blocks. You see, you have 100 million accounts and you have got, say, 100,000 business correspondents. So whatever you see that intermediary, it's only basically to put in place an operating process as a part of the BC. UID is basically for an online authentication system, identity management, where you ensure is the right kind of person that is getting it. So these are all building blocks. You see, I think we say 100 million accounts, no-frill accounts. A lot of people ask, what is the use of these accounts when there is no this thing? So you can't, from day one, you can't start lending 100 million people. We need to understand that. I think out of 100 million people, everyone cannot be an entrepreneur. We need to realize that. Everyone cannot start a business, right? There will be, some people would go for self-employment, some people would go for employment. We know of the sector which probably assume that all 100 million people would be potential borrowers, and you know what happened to that story and all that. So out of 100 million people, maybe about, say, 20%, 15%, if so, what kind of people, how do you build a customer profile? That's where again another technology tool and analytics, that's what I was talking to him, which would help us probably to identify. This would help us to marry the customer profile with the right kind of products, suite of products.
Okay, Dr. Rao, you've heard quite a few thoughts exchanged. So what sense do you get as you look at, integrating growth, success progress?
Actually interesting, there are various products at work. So I think as very well said, there can't be one solution or one product. So banking correspondents are doing wonderful job. So there is large demand for that. That will change the game in the rural areas, because people are not losing time. Going to bank and my work is not done today, I am losing a day's job, or my wages are gone. I have seen in rural villages of Anantapur, various BCs, the way their own people, they have trust, their own people, they don't go away anyway, the trust is there. So very much it's so easy, he is available or she is available, early morning or evening, the bank is available. Unlike a formal bank, you have to go at a typical time, you have to stand in queue, wait for the time, but BCs have changed the game.
There is a clear consensus among the policy makers and business leaders that to achieve satisfactory levels of financial inclusion, Andhra Pradesh will need more resources and ideas, and a common pledge. A pledge to ensure 100% financial inclusion. In our next episode, we'll find out about the financial inclusion initiatives touching the lives of people in our capital, New Delhi.